A day to remember for the rest of your lives.
There's a great promise for all of you.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame and Extreme Networks present the Heart of a Hall of Famer program. With nearly 100 Hall of Famers participating, we have reached 48 states around this country, sharing the message that football is more than a game and can teach Americans how to huddle up during a time when we need to be united.
It's time for America to take a real deep dive, not at no one else, but at yourself individually. If you want to change America, don't brush your teeth with your head down. Look at who you are and be the example. Be the example.
An opportunity to meet and learn from one of the greatest football players of all time. But more than that, the chance to see that their Hall of Fame life wasn't given to them. Single-parent homes, drug-infested neighborhoods, and poverty.
I grew up in a neighborhood that was considered one of the worst in America, and the household I grew up in was one of the worst in that neighborhood. By the time I was 20 years old, I knew at least 30 friends or family members who had lost their lives. Football became like a second parent to me. It taught me the things that my father wasn't there to teach me, and that my mother, as a struggling, single-parent woman, just didn't know to teach me.
But they learn how to live a life of character before pursuing their football careers. Today, you will learn you can do the same that they once did. Making good decisions can lead to a prosperous life both on and off the field. Your game for life has already begun. It's your decision whether or not you want to be a successful student, son, daughter, brother, or sister.
Every one of you can have a Hall of Fame life, whether or not you play football. You can be as great as you want to be. The Hall of Fame is all about integrity, character, and excellence. You have the opportunity to represent yourself that way. You determine everything.
Welcome to a once-in-a-lifetime program, The Heart of a Hall of Famer.
I was the player I became because of the great coaches and teammates I was surrounded by. From the day I was cut from my freshman football team at Barringer High School, Coach Frank Verducci instilled in me the proper mindset to play this great game. My high school motto was truth, honor, and light. In truth, Coach Verducci taught us to recognize our strengths as well as our weaknesses and to raise our hand if it was our fault. In honor, he taught us to be proud of our names. He always said, rob me of my money and you have nothing, but rob me of my name and you take my most prized possession. In life, Coach wanted all of us to get an education. He said only a fool doesn't go to school. Coach, thank you and I love you. And in closing, if I may, to the young kids out there, I am proof you should do everything you can to live your dream. Whatever that may be. I did not have the material advantages, but through commitment to achieving my goals, using the advantages that I did have, and listening to the wise men and women who offered their support, I was able to live my dream. This was my dream.
And with that, I'd like to welcome you to another installment of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Heart of a Hall of Famer series. My name is Jake. I'm going to be moderating the program today, and I'm coming to you live from Canton, Ohio, the home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And this program today features this name you see right here behind me, Mr. Andre Tippett. Andre's coming to us live from Foxborough, Massachusetts, the home of the New England Patriots. Like I said, my name is Jake. I'm going to be moderating the session here today. And with that, we're going to kind of get into what we believe in here at the Hall of Fame. And that's our mission, our vision, and some of the values we believe in. The mission here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is to honor the heroes of the game, to preserve its history, to promote its values, and to celebrate excellence everywhere. And those values that we promote are those of commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and excellence. And I'm excited today, and hopefully all the students we have tuned in today are as well. Not every day you get to talk to one of the greatest football players to ever step foot on a football field. Before we get started, I do want to thank a few people. I want to first thank our folks over at Extreme Networks. Without them, this program could not take place. They do a lot for us here at the Hall of Fame. They do a lot for schools across the entire country. So I want to thank them. Second, I'd like to thank our folks over at the the New England Patriots Hall of Fame for all the help that they've done in getting this program set up and making sure today went off without a hitch. So thanks to you guys. I need to thank our teachers for allowing us to come into your classrooms today. I know it's a crazy time of the year as we're winding down, getting towards the holidays. So we appreciate you letting us come into the classroom for an hour and have Mr. Tippett and myself talk to you guys about the game of football and how important the values are that it teaches. Lastly, I need to thank our students. Without you guys, this program doesn't happen. You guys are going to be driving the program today. You guys are going to be asking the questions. So make sure you got those questions prepared. Step up, ask your question when your school's called on, and we'll be good to go. So we're very, very excited to see what's in store for today. So with that, I'd like to welcome one of the greatest guys to ever play the sport of football, one of the great men of game. Please join me and welcome Hall of Famer and Gold Jacket, Mr. Andre Tippett.
Jacob, what's going on, guys? It's awesome to be with you.
Awesome. Well, I was want to go ahead and turn over things to you, Mr. Tippett, with if you have some opening remarks for everybody.
It's awesome to have an opportunity to share your passion and the things that you've been successful doing most of your life. And, people tell you that, you become a mentor and a role model by playing the game. And it's something that, I've never taken for granted. I got a son that's playing college football right now. And I'm still trying to share and get him to understand my ways and ways of being successful. And this is another one of those opportunities today that I may not get everybody that's out there watching us and that's going to be chiming in. But if I can say 2 or 3 different things or pass along a message from my past experiences to the young people today, man, that'll be huge. And, we can get 2 or 3 people to understand that and make something out of themselves. I'll be more than happy.
Awesome. That's great. Well, I'll go ahead and kick things off here. You're coming to us, like I said, live from Foxborough, Massachusetts, the home of the New England Patriots. You played your entire career there, and now you work for the organization. So what has it been like, and how important it was for you to spend not only your entire playing career, but your entire career as a business professional as well with the Patriots organization?
I tell you, it was huge. I from the very first day I got drafted by the Patriots, I had in the back of my mind for a long time that, whenever my playing career is over, I'd love to somehow figure out a way how I could probably work in the organization. I got a chance to see many aspects of the organization from the marketing side, from the PR side, from the scouting personnel side. And so, I saw that there were a few opportunities if a person really wanted that opportunity. And, I looked around throughout the years to see, who would be that person that would step up and get that opportunity. But, it was never really a person that was there that, you'd hear him in the locker room saying, I'm going to try to see if I can work for the Patriots. I think a lot of people during that time were, when I'm done with the Patriots, I'm out of here and you never see me again. And I was total opposite. It was like, when I'm done here, and toward the end of my career, I said, I would love to have an opportunity to come into the front office. That opportunity came to me because of, one, the player that I was, both on and off the field. Everything that I stood for, from an integrity, from a respect standpoint, from a character standpoint, all of those things were important. And when it was all said and done, that Mr. Kraft came to me and said, hey, you have 2 options. You can continue to play if you want, or if you'd like to come into the front office, we have a couple options for you. And so I ran with it.
Awesome. It's always cool to see that not only does the team have an impact on you throughout your career, because that's the logo you have on the side of your helmet, the jersey you put on every Sunday, but to see that passion for that, not only the Patriots, but the Northeast region continue is very, very cool. So I think with that, we're going to head and turn over to some of our students here. The first school we're going to turn over to, we have Pollard Elementary School in New Hampshire. So go ahead, have a student step up to the microphone and ask your question for Mr. Tippett.
What inspired you to start football?
Wow, that's a great question. What inspired me to start football? You know, the funny thing happened along the way, moving through the hallways at high school. Someone grabbed me and said, hey, they're having freshman tryouts. And never played. I didn't play Pop Warner football. And they grabbed me. I was literally in my school clothes. And we went out and we were running around out there. So for a couple of weeks, I was out on the football field and not having a clue of what I was doing. But somewhere along the line, I figured out I really like this game. This is pretty cool to get out there and be tackling people and running around, catching passes and different things like that. And from there, I was hooked. But funny thing happened my freshman year. Didn't make the football team that year. I got cut. Can you believe I got cut? Andre Tippett got cut from the football team. Well, it happened. And because of that, it inspired me to really work as hard as I could the next time I got an opportunity. It was in my sophomore year that I finally made the team. And from there, it became even a greater passion to play the game.
You mentioned being cut there from your freshman team. Another pretty good athlete, his name is Michael Jordan, also cut from his freshman high school basketball team. So the same thing, and you talked about in your enshrinement speech there a little bit about your high school coach. How important was he not only in your high school career, but do you have a relationship or did you have a relationship with him after you left your high school?
Yes, my high school coach, my varsity high school coach, Frank Verducci, has been in my life. To this day, we're still as close and we're in communication all the time. Played a major role in my life. He, from the very start of my football career, he's had a role in it, and from college into the pro leagues, he's always had a role in my life from that standpoint, because he was someone that taught me how to play the game, made me appreciate winning and losing, and has always guided me in the right direction. You know, you hear so many stories about so many of us that have played this game, and a lot of kids growing up without that father figure. Well, I was very fortunate to have someone that I could look at as a father. And Coach Verducci was that guy for me. He was a guy that, you know, basically taught us right and wrong. You know, he gave you that discipline, that harsh, those harsh words that you need to hear when you needed to hear them. And he taught us to do all the right things on the field and off the field. And he was a constant reminder to us, even when we were away from him, that you got to be conscious of, you know, being respectful, doing the right thing when nobody's looking, appreciating and understanding that you represent so many things because there are people watching you. And the fact that, you know, when I went off to college, you know, don't disrespect the community that you come from. Don't disrespect your family name. Don't disrespect the high school that you came from, because you're representing all three of those phases. And it's something that has stuck with me my whole life.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm being a former player myself, definitely not as good as you were. But I'm still still close to coaches that I had in high school. So I definitely like hearing that. Next person we're going to turn over to right here in our backyard in Canton, Ohio, Lehman Middle School. So go ahead and have a student step up to the mic and ask your question.
Hi, my name is Dalen. You did karate, right? So how did karate help you?
Hey, Damon, thank you. That's a great question. I've been in martial arts now for 40-some years, and it has been probably one of those things that's been with me, just like my helmets and my cleats and and different things that are involved with football. My training, my training in the martial arts was in the beginning learning how to defend myself, but as I got better and got more efficient, it went way beyond that. But as far as being on the football field and how it carried over to the football field, being a defensive player, it's a defensive position, and it's a lot of aggression out there, and you sometimes you have to protect yourself. And the things that I learned in the martial arts, mostly leverage and understanding how the weight distribution and all that stuff work. I was so far ahead of the game, understanding leverage and how to use it against people. Guys tend to want to grab you a little bit extra out there on the field. I was able to get their hands off me a little bit quicker, and it was nothing real karate related, like you see punches and kicks and things like that. But I had a lot of fun utilizing the things that I knew that I had received from my training.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to our next school. Looks like we got like a very eager student over there at Gallagher Middle School. So go ahead and ask your question.
Did you ever take on a leadership role as a youth?
Yes. In a lot of ways that, I'm constantly, sharing with young people and often reminding my children. You hear the story so many times that had I went left instead of right, who knows where I would have ended up. Well, through me being around the right people, and these are adults, these were folks that were constantly telling me how to do the right thing, and especially when no one's looking, how to do the right thing. And, I was able to establish right away that, I got in trouble a few times, and I realized that I don't ever want to get in trouble like that again. And throughout my youth, and then when I got up to college, I realized that, you don't ever want to make the same mistake twice. And there were certain people, certain like-minded folks that you wanted to be around. And I learned, like I said, I learned at a very young age, there were certain people that I would watch and study, knew what they were into. And then there was that other group that I would watch and study. And through that was one of those leadership roles that were kind of bestowed upon me kind of by accident. But, I was able to get a lot of guys to understand that the only way you're going to have success is to be around folks that are interested in doing positive things. So at a real early age, probably 6th or 7th grade, I was able to figure that out right away.
All right, we're going to send it down south a little bit to our Agnor Hurt Elementary School in Virginia and Mrs. Sands' class. So go ahead, come up to the mic and ask your question.
My question is, how did he become a football player, and why did he want to become a football player?
Well, as I always tell people, I kind of became a football player by mistake because some of my best friends were walking through the hallway one day, and they grabbed me and told me they were football tryouts, and I went out for the tryouts, and it was something that grabbed me, and I gravitated to it right away, that this is something that I really, really, really love and think that I can be well at it. As I progressed from high school into college, I saw another opportunity that I didn't realize that would be there for me, and that was the opportunity to play pro football. Along with playing pro football, I also got an opportunity to get an education, and it didn't cost my family any money for me to go to college. So it was a twofold. I was able to develop my passion. We tell young people, our children, we share with our family members to find your passion and then go with your passion, because that's the thing that's going to take you through life. And I've been able to take football and use it as my passion, and it's taken me to the next level.
You spoke a little bit there on how football kind of provided you the opportunity to be successful, not only at the pro level, but at the college level as well. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Tippett went to the University of Iowa, and he was there when the team won their first Big Ten title and their first Rose Bowl win in over 2 decades before he got there. So what was it like as a player in college to go through that, and how did wins and successes like that bring the team closer together?
It was an amazing opportunity. You know, everyone asked me, how did you go to Iowa? Why Iowa? And, you know, what for? And, you know, it was me following guys that I looked up to that were like-minded. I had 2 teammates that were already there at the University of Iowa, and then was recruited by Coach Bernie Wyatt to Iowa, and then recruited a few more people from the New Jersey area. And, you know, it was one of those situations that felt good. Hayden Fry was his first year there. They had just fired Bob Cummings. And, you know, it was like you saw the writing on the wall. You heard what Coach Fry had for the plan. And it was masterful. We were going to put Nebraska and Oklahoma on our schedule, and we're probably going to get pushed around a little bit, but eventually we were going to be able to push back. And, you know, through all of that, it was amazing understanding the history of University of Iowa. Nobody knew at that time they hadn't been to a bowl game, hadn't won a Big Ten championship since 1959. Here it was 1980, 81, and here we are. We are co-Big Ten champs, and we're Rose Bowl representatives. It was a program that was built on discipline. It was built on great coaches, and we had, again, like-minded guys that understood it and they wanted to get it done. My senior year, going into my senior year, all of us seniors decided to stay in the Iowa City area that year. And we were all dedicated to being around in the summer, working out together, kind of getting to know each other a little bit more, because we knew we were only going to be, this is our last year. And if we don't make it happen, then it was going to be on somebody else. So it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me.
All right, we'll turn back over here to some students. We had a late joiner there. Is there any students there at Pine Grove Elementary down there in Florida that have any questions for Mr. Tippett? Anybody there? All right, we'll move on to the next one. We'll send it over to, we got a little bit of an international flavor to this program today, Mr. Tippett. We have Forest Green School from Canada tuning in, so they're going to have some questions here for you.
Awesome.
Come on, Elliot. Come on over. Come on over, Elliot.
Before you ask your question, I love your sweatshirt.
Thanks.
Okay,
Did you get hurt a lot in football?
Hey, Elliot. No, I didn't. I got banged up a couple of times. I missed 1 year with a sore shoulder, and I had a few nicks and bruises here and there. But I was pretty fortunate to play my whole career kind of injury free. You know, I had the 1 year where I missed the whole season, but other than that, you know, it was just like anything else. You get a few nicks and bumps and bruises here and there, and you rehab and you get better, and you try to make yourself stronger in the off season so you can get back out there.
Awesome. So we're going to send it back to our school in New Hampshire, Pollard Elementary. Do you have another student there who would like to ask a question?
How do you think it is?
Can you repeat that?
How do you think today is?
How do I think the game is today? Is the question?
The Patriots team today is.
Oh, man, come on. I'm right here in the building. This is the building that Brady and Belichick and the Crafts have built. It's been amazing to be here and be part of this organization. This has been 36 years that I've been here in the building and within the organization. And, you know, I had my time and my era and how we did it and how we tried to win championships. And we got to the big show one time. and being able to stick around and be part of the latter part of the team and the success that has been here. It's been pretty awesome the last 16 years around here with the young players that we have here, and especially the ownership. The ownership has done so much to provide the coaches and the players with an opportunity to win and be successful on a consistent basis. That's been the key to the success around here for the Patriot organization.
It's definitely been one of those teams, especially the last decade, that are always seem to be at the top of the standings and ready to succeed every year. Now, we had a program Wednesday with Mr. Larry Little, who obviously we know is a great player for the Miami Dolphins. And with what happened on Sunday, I had to ask the Miami crowd what the feeling was like. So I want to get the other side of the story. What was the feeling like in New England after that game that took place on Sunday?
It was probably more of, wow. One, we couldn't believe it happened. And two, just like the players, they all, to a man, all manned up and, hey, the loss was on me. Another player, the loss was on me. Coach, the loss was on me. So everyone understood that, to do it all over again, we obviously would have done a lot of things differently. And I think that was probably the first time in a long time that someone was out there kind of looking for someone else to make the play instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to be that person to make the play.
Always one of those tough games because you just, like you said, you really don't know what to say because that doesn't happen in the NFL every day. So just wanted to see what kind of the other side of the story was like there from the northeast part of the state. So we're going to send it back to our school here in Canton, Ohio, Lehman Middle School. So go ahead and have another student step up to the mic and ask your question.
Hey, Jamil, how did where you from influence you?
Sorry, Jamil, say again.
How did where you from influence you?
Growing up in Newark, New Jersey, man, it's one of those tough environments that because of the tough brick city mentality, I think that was one of the key elements of my success was if I could keep my head straight, stay on the straight and narrow, not get in trouble. And I graduated from high school, and then I got an opportunity to go on to college. It was the toughness, the tough-mindedness of that environment that I grew up in that has pushed me to unbelievable heights, and it was something that I wear on my sleeve as my badge of honor. And I was recently back in Newark, New Jersey for Thanksgiving Day weekend, and I had a street named after me in front of my high school, and I gave out an MVP award at the high school Thanksgiving Day game. So do I go back? Yes, I love it. And, I'm very proud to tell people that I'm from Newark, New Jersey. And because of Newark, New Jersey, I was able to become the person that I am today.
You talked a little bit about your journey there, how from Newark, New Jersey to there right in Foxborough until eventually to your second home here in Canton, Ohio. You were inducted as a member of the class of 2008. And when you're inducted, you get three things when you become a Hall of Famer. You get a Hager gold jacket that you're sporting there today. You get the K Jewelers Ring of Excellence. But maybe that most iconic piece is that bronze bust that it lives here in Canton, Ohio, will last for over 40,000 years. So what we're going to do is I actually have Jerry Shockey, who's the Director of Youth and Education here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, live from our Hall of Fame gallery in front of a bust that might look a little familiar to you, Andre. So I'm going to go ahead and turn over to Jerry. Jerry, you there?
Yes, I am, Jake, and good to hear from all the students, and Mr. Tippett, good to see you as well. And I'm joined here by, obviously, the bronze bust of gold jacket Andre Tippett. We are here live in the Hall of Fame gallery. And just to give you an idea of how big of an honor it is to be enshrined in here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Since the game has started, there have been over 300 million people that have played the game at all levels. There have been 5 million that have played it at the collegiate level. There have been about 29,000 that have been paid to play, coach, officiate, or administrate the game of pro football. And just to give you an idea of how big of an honor it is, there are only 318 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and Mr. Andre Tippett being one of those. The New England Patriots selected Andre Tippett in the second round of the 1982 draft. Tippett earned a starter's berth beginning in 1983. That year, the 6'3", 240-pound linebacker set the stage for things to come by recording a team-leading 8.5 sacks. The following season, he established a new team record for sacks with 18.5 and earned his first of 5 consecutive invitations to the Pro Bowl. In 1985, the Patriots, for the first time in team history, advanced to the Super Bowl. In 4 postseason games, he recorded 21 tackles and a sack. His outstanding play earned him All-Pro, Pro Bowl, and AFC Defensive Player of the Year honors. When he retired, his 100 career sacks, 18.5 sacks in a season, and 17 opponents' fumbles recovered were team best. Tippett, a 5-time All-AFC selection, was named to the NFL's All-Decade Team of the 1980s. As you can see, students, Andre Tippett had a career well-deserving of a bust here in Canton, Ohio. Jake, buddy, back to you.
Thanks, Jerry. So you go through all those stats and all your accomplishments throughout your career, and it ultimately culminated in a bronze bust here in Canton, Ohio. So question here for you is, what kind of has been the coolest or the greatest thing that you got to experience being a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
You know, the biggest thing for me is seeing the guys that I've looked up to. You know, I started watching football in the 70s and playing it later in the 70s. And to be at the Hall of Fame and be part of that fraternity, to see Joe Green, to talk to Roger Staubach, to chat with Mel Blount, you know, all these guys. And then my teammate, John Hanna, and Mike Haynes, and, you know, these are guys that I played with. And to be part of this is really special. But the funny thing along the way with it being so special, it's really become very humbling. And it's almost to a scary point where, you know, it's you watch these guys and you go up to them and you have a conversation. You say, I'd love to take a picture with you. Or, you know, you call somebody from somebody that you know maybe want an autograph. And you're there with helmets and footballs and you're asking these guys to autograph the stuff. And it's funny watching everyone there. They're all humble. Nobody's acting like they're better than anybody, and it's an amazing feeling to be there with these guys. Some of the greatest people to ever play this football game, and to watch them, it's something for me to learn from that. You know, these guys are still a living example of how to do the right things, especially when no one's watching.
Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and send it back to our students. We've got another student there at Gallagher Elementary School, or Gallagher Middle School, excuse me, ready to ask a question?
As a kid or an adult, who was your motivation other than your dad or your coach?
You know, my motivation was to kind of not let anybody down. I've had a lot given to me, and I have had a lot of opportunities, and I created those opportunities along the way with, you know, good people that were looking out for me. So, you know, it's as far as the motivation to just not let anybody down, try to be that example that, you know, people can kind of say, hey, Andre Tippett, you know, that was a guy, this is a person that you should follow and try to be like. And I think just wanting to be a good person and set the right example.
Awesome. So next school we're going to send it to is we'll go back to Virginia to our school, Agnor Hurt Elementary. Go ahead and have a student step up to the mic and ask a question.
How old were you when you started playing football?
I was, I believe, 15 when I first started playing football, 15 to 16. And I wasn't lucky like some guys you hear that played Pop 1 football all the way up through high school. And I was very fortunate to get it at the level that I did. But I also was able to still follow my passion and find my passion.
Awesome. So as you know, we are live on Facebook, and for everybody tuning in, feel free to submit your questions there in the comment section. But we got one here that asked, what was the transition like from being a player to not playing the game that you loved and played your entire life? What was that transition like for you?
You know, your body talks to you. And, you know, Coach always reminded me, he said, you know, you were a good – Coach used to tell me I was a great listener, and I was pretty sharp on picking up things. And this was probably one of those times when I decided to make the decision to retire that my body was talking to me. It literally is like, you know, something's going to happen to you, and, you know, you might need to consider maybe walking away from the game. And, you know, I had quite a few bumps and bruises that were starting to build up, and it was just making it harder and harder to kind of get ready each week. And I think right after the 93 season was over with, a lot of things were happening also within the organization, ownership. That's when Mr. Kraft bought the team. It was Parcells' first year as the head coach here. And, you know, I followed my instincts, and my gut feeling was, this is now that time for you to kind of walk away from the game. I didn't leave anything behind, you know. It's like, you know, you hear guys, you know, I hear guys all the time talking about, man, I'd love to get back out there and do it one more time. I don't want to get back out there and do it anymore. I mean, these guys are huge out there. They're faster. They're stronger. And I knew it was time for me to step down, and it was the best decision that I've made.
Even though the game's a little bit different, and you, like you said, that they're bigger, faster, and stronger than the time when you played there for the Patriots, is there a player today that you kind of see who plays most similar to you?
I'm a little biased when it comes to that, and, you know, without getting into a whole big thing. You know, I was very fortunate to play and be part of a 3-4 defense for a long time, and, you know, in order to play a good 3-4 defense, you had to have great 4 linebackers out there. And so you got a lot of young guys that are in the league now that are playing defense a little bit differently. And it's kind of tough. But as far as trying to pin my hand on a guy that I think is similar to me, it's really hard to say, and it would be probably a disjustice to kind of, you know, pick a guy out of the group. There are a lot of great football players that are doing a lot of great things out there.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a great answer to that question. So I'm going to send it back up to Canada here to our school, Forest Green. Go ahead and have a student up to the mic and ask a question. Classroom looks empty. So we're gonna move right on to back to Pollard Elementary School for a question.
What do you think the most important part of football is?
Wow, that's a great question. The most important part of football is how to become a team player. You get a lot of guys that come in and all they care about is individual success, and, you know, this is what I want to do, and this is what I should be doing, and this is, you know, how I'm going to do it, instead of it should be we and us, and you know, everything is about the greater good, and the greater good is always team success. And I think that will always be the important part of football. Without that, you never have any success.
All right, we're going to send it now over to our students at Lehman Middle School for another question for Mr. Tippett.
Hi, my name is Markel, and what are some situations or events that took place in your life that you would say had a significant impact on your character?
You know, it was a lot of people don't realize I went from high school to junior college, and then junior college to University of Iowa. And right in that 1 year span, I could have easily made a decision that would have probably ruined me for the rest of my life. Academically, I didn't do the things that I was supposed to. And, you know, I've been a big proponent in preaching education and being a constant learner, because these are some of the things that I was able to develop leaving high school, not being ready to go straight to the University of Iowa. I actually was there at Ellsworth Community College for 1 year. And I think I became the best student that I'd ever been. And it was amazing. It was an amazing turnaround for me. But through that opportunity, I was able to have a better understanding in the importance of an education and being prepared. So, you know, through that, it was something that I was able to pass along to my son and my children, my girls, and to other football players that I come across.
All right, we're going to send it back over to Gallagher Middle School for another question.
What character qualities do you think it takes to be a Hall of Fame player?
I'm sorry, say it one more time, Sweetie.
Oh. What character qualities do you believe it takes to be a Hall of Fame player?
Wow, that's a good question. There's a lot of things. I mean, it's not one thing. I mean, it's integrity, it's discipline, it's commitment, it's moral courage to do so many things when so many people aren't watching, and being able to appreciate and understand the importance of a team environment, and then really following the passion for the game and the commitment for what the game stands for. You know, as I said, since being in the Hall of Fame, it's really humbled me to the point where it's almost, you know, you feel guilty about something, because it's like it's too good to be true, because you understand what the Hall of Fame and being part of the Hall of Fame is all about. You know the importance of those three iconic pieces, that the gold jacket, the ring, and the bust, and what that stands for. You know the fact that there's only 319 busts out of millions of people that have played this game. So those things will humble you, because you know that you're in rare air. So.
You talk about having that high level of humility and being humble, and even though through all your successes. So I got a list here just to to put in perspective how great of a career you did have. You were inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2008, University of Iowa's Varsity Hall of Fame in 2007, Patriots Hall of Fame in 1999, the National Jewish Sports Hall of Fame in 2009, Alabama Sports Hall of Fame in 2012. So you can say you had a pretty decent career. What do all those honors and all the honors you've received throughout your career mean to you?
Wow, I'm grateful to the opportunity to have a chance to be inducted into so many great institutions. The meaning of it is just the fact that, you know, you got to trust the process. You got to trust the people that you're around. And it's a great reminder to people that, you know what, if you're willing to work hard for something, and you understand, you know, you set goals and you understand where you want to be and where you want to end up. And that's a great example to follow. And I mean, you can take anybody that's in any of those Hall of Fames, be it the college, the pro, the high school, whatever. And there's so many great people that have led great examples. And, you know, it's just as the end result of hard work, preparation, and trying to make the right decisions all the time. It's a wonderful example to have out there for people, young people, to pick up on.
We're going to turn it back to those young people here. We're going to go back to Pollard Elementary in New Hampshire for another question for Mr. Tippett.
Some of the players on the Patriots that you think helped you become good?
All my teammates. Specifically the linebacker, the defensive side, the DBs. You know, I was fortunate to play with some great guys who, you know, for a long period of time, we were able to kind of play together You talk about Don Blackman, you talk about Steve Nelson, you talk about Fred Marion, Steve Grogan, you talk about John Hanna. There's so many names that are out there that for a short period we were able to be real productive and have an opportunity to try to make something happen. And we really worked hard together, and it was amazing to sit around and be part of it and kind of watch it and take it all in. I played with some great guys that wanted to get it done, and it was a shame that we wasn't able to stay together a little bit longer, or we didn't have a few more opportunities to try to get it done. But I've been around some great guys in my time, and I appreciate them all.
Is there anybody today on the current Patriots team that kind of stands out to you as one of those leaders and one of those team guys, like you said there throughout that you've been around throughout your career?
I've seen a lot of the great guys over the last 15, 16 years here that have brought a lot of success and honor to the organization and a lot of the wins. I mean, you talk about the Brewskis, the Wilforks, the McGinnises. Tom Brady's old man, he's like old man River now. He's almost, he's 40-something years old, and he's still kicking it. You talk about Gronk, you talk about Troy Brown. Again, there's so many other names out there, but I've watched all of these young men go into the locker room and create a team environment with so many great, talented players there. And to see them come as one, it's truly amazing, because when we won the first Super Bowl, I was watching from start to finish and how they held themselves and how they promoted that game and the things that they got done. It was amazing. And I tip my hat to all those young men, because I see them now. I see them all the time, and I'm in awe of them.
Awesome. So looking at my screen here, it looks like we got some students back at Forest Green. So we're going to turn it over to them to ask another question here for Mr. Tippett.
What's our other? Hold on just 1 second. We just got to take our toques and our outdoor gear off from recess.
All right, we'll send it back to another school and we'll come back.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to send it to Lehman Middle School for another question.
Hi, my name is Javion. What advice can you give to young people about how to develop their character?
How could I give advice to young people? I've been kind of on a roll lately, and I'll share a few things with you, and it's just my thoughts and things that I think that you need to always consider. You got to have a tough character about yourself, and you got to be able to, if you fall down 7 times, you got to be able to pull yourself up 8 times. I use that a lot because it's so true. No matter how many times someone will knock you down, it's on you to stay down and don't pick yourself up. So if you get down 7, you stand up 8, man, you're going to make it happen. And the other piece that I like to talk about is becoming a steady learner. Always don't stop. A lot of people get to a point where they think they can't learn anymore. You got to be a constant learner. You don't ever get to a point or ever get to an age where people can't teach you anymore, because then you might as well just, walk off into the abyss somewhere, because your time's going to be up. And I use this other term, shoshin, which is the heart of a beginner. And no matter how good you become, no matter the success that you have, you got to always look like and think like a beginner, and feel like, there's so much more that I can do to get better. So those are some of the things, I threw a lot out there, but if you can take one of those 3 things that I've talked about, man, that's going to help you get to the point where you're trying to get to.
All right, we're going to turn over now to Gallagher Middle School for another question from them.
What was it like on your first day of football?
It was scary. Everywhere I've gone, it's been a little scary because it's that first the unknown. You don't know who or what's going to happen to you. You know, and you've heard about people. I mean, at high school level, there were so many guys that I kind of looked up to, and then all of a sudden I'm out on the field with these guys and I'm playing, and then all of a sudden I'm just like one of the regular guys. And again, so on and so on. I go to college, it's the same thing. You're playing against a Nebraska or Oklahoma team, and all of a sudden you're playing against Billy Sims, who you've read and seen on national TV, and you don't know what he's going to do to you, and you get a little nervous. But what you got to do, you got to trust in yourself and trust in who you are, because you wouldn't be out there for one, and you just got to bring it.
All right, let's see if our students there at Forest Green are ready to ask another question.
Yeah, we've got a question here. Just 1 second. There's Hunter. Come on, Hunter. Come on, quick. He's waiting. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, do you keep count of your wins?
Did I keep count of my wins? Yeah, I do. Plus they're in the record book, so I can always go to a record book, and but yeah, I was very fortunate to have a lot of wins versus a lot of losses, and wins feel a lot better than losses.
All right, I think we got time here just for a couple more, so we're going to send it back to Pollard Elementary School for another question from them.
What was your best experience with the Patriots?
My best experience with the Patriots was probably two things. When I first got drafted by the Patriots, because I've always felt like they believed in me. And the second thing was being on the first team to take the organization to Super Bowl. Although we ended up losing to the Chicago Bears in Super Bowl 20, being part of that, I'm part of history. I'll always be part of history. But those were probably the two most important things that have come out of being part of the Patriot organization as a player.
All right, we're going to send it over to Gallagher Middle School here for another question from one of their students.
As a child, what events in your life do you believe helped you shape you into the man you are today?
Definitely football, and again, you guys don't know the extension of my martial arts training, but I've probably been in martial arts longer than I've been in football. But between the two of those, they gave me a passion for life. They gave me the discipline to do all the right things, and I was afforded to be around some great people that today I still consider friends, and I consider mentors and people that have helped guide my life.
All right, we're going to send it back up to Canada to our students at Forest Green. I think this may be our last student question, and we'll turn it over to Mr. Tippett for some final remarks.
Okay, come on.
How many Grey Cups did you win?
He meant how many.
How many Super Bowls did I win? I won one AFC championship and no Super Bowls. But since I've been part of the organization in my front office role, so I can take those wins I can count those wins as mine also. So we have five world championship trophies here in the organization.
All right, I think we got just a few more minutes left here. So, Mr. Tippett, is there anything that you'd like to leave the students with today, or some advice for them, or maybe advice that you would like to hear as a student their age?
I first of all, I want to thank everybody, all the schools. I want to thank everybody in Canton, Ohio, at the Hall of Fame for help setting this up. Obviously, all the folks here in New England for help on our end. And again, the message, I've had many today. I've shared a lot of little tidbits here and there. But, there's nothing that can defeat you but your own fear and lack of confidence. And if you can gain confidence, which we all know sports do that for us. And if you can find someone that you look up to and use that person as a mentor, between those 2 or 3 things that are going to really help you guys become the people that you want to become. Find your passion. When you really find your passion, you follow that passion, you're going to have a lot of success and zest for life. So thank you, guys.
All right. I think with that, we're going to head and wrap up this installment of the Heart of a Hall of Famer program featuring Gold Jacket, Pro Football Hall of Famer, Class of 2018 inductee, Mr. Andre Tippett. I want to, again, thank you for being a part of this program and taking time out of your busy day, right in the midst of the playoff rush, to participate in this program today. I also want to thank you for everything that you've done for the game of football. I like to say our Hall of Famers, without their influence on the game of football, the game wouldn't be like it is today. So we want to thank you for that. Thank you for everything you've done for us here at the Hall of Fame, from myself, the Youth Education Department, all the way up to George Veras, Joe Horrigan, David Baker, our president. So thank you for that. So let's give one last round of applause for Mr. Tippett. All right, again, I want to thank everybody for participating, and we hope to see you one day here in Canton, Ohio. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see y'all later.
Thank you.
Bye.